Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay. This is a podcast to inspire, uplift, show forth the love of God, and help usher in the spiritual awakening. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay, host Jay Spillers, and I have a guest today. His name is Kabir. Kabir, how are you?
Hey Jay, how you doing? Good to be here.
I'm pretty good. So, you're a transformational life coach, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
So, what happened to you to transform your life, or did you have a spiritual experience or something?
Yes, most definitely. I think we're all spiritual beings, and we have these cool experiences through our life that dictate how we choose to live our lives. So I think it's really phenomenal, brother.
So, what happened in your life? I mean, specifically, was there any specific events?
Yeah, so many things. I came to America in 2014. I'm from India. Came to America 2014 with $25 and a dream. My entire life I had been told that you gotta go to school, study really hard to climb up the corporate ladder, and I didn't quite do that. I got kicked out of 10th grade for bringing vodka to school. Apparently, that's frowned upon. And from
Hmm.
there I dropped out of university as well, so didn't have much of a university degree. And I got into so many different things and learning about myself, which really allowed me to be able to build my business to what it is today. I think for me, the spiritual experience part was realizing that there's no answers in the external. I think so many of us waste so much of our time looking for all the answers in the external, looking for the job opportunity, looking for that one thing, that $1 million ticket, right? That lottery ticket, but that doesn't exist. For me, the spiritual experience was when my coach told me, he said, Kabir, you've got to stop looking externally and start looking internally. I think that was one of my biggest moments. And that happened after many jobs. There was one point where I was working four different jobs. This is back in 2019. And I was $36,000 in debt. This is not like I invested in coaching or invested in seminars or invested in my business. This was, let's go out and party on money that I don't have, $36,000. And at that
Mhm.
point, the experience that I had was, it was almost like a higher force calling to me. And it kind of said that, hey, bud, you're focusing on the wrong things. Focus on something else instead. Because back then, the decision that I made was that I was a failure. And as long as I lived with that decision of, I am a failure, that's what showed up for me. So I had to change my thinking. I had to change the way I thought about life. And when I changed what I thought about life and how I would look at the things around me, suddenly opportunities just came out of nowhere. Like termites in the woodwork, they just suddenly appeared. And I think a part of that is realizing that spiritual awakening that we talk about, right? Understanding that we always have what we need within us. And sometimes you need to dig down deep within to be able to bring that into the external and create, whether that be the financial abundance in your business or the abundance in your relationship or in any other area of life. It starts from in here. And I think that's the biggest piece of advice I could give anybody listening, brother.
Was that about? So that was like about 4 years ago then.
That was 2019. Yeah, it's been a while, about 4.5 years ago. Yes.
And so, was it sort of a gradual thing that you started to change gradually, or was it just like more of an instantaneous change?
Jay, I have a very specific belief about how change happens, right? And my belief is that change happens in one instance. It's like now you're here, now you're gone. It sometimes takes us weeks, months, or even years to get ready to make that change. But when the actual change happens, bam, it's in one instance. It's like now you're here, now you're gone. It's like water on a sidewalk on a hot summer day. It just vanishes. All your problems, all your fears, all your limitations just completely disappear because you've chosen to have that change happen. So, to answer your question, do I think it was a product of many, many years? Yes, it probably took me many years to get to the point where I was ready to have that change. But when that change happened, it was in one instance.
And you got motivated to go into life coaching.
Actually, no. I did not get motivated to go into life coaching. Funny story. So, life coaching was actually a byproduct of everything that I did. I wanted to make money, just like most people in this world. I was all about getting rich and famous. And I said, I want to make a lot of money and I want a lot of people to know me so that I can have the biggest impact on this world. And as I started doing that, I realized that I had so much more to offer. When I started my personal development journey and went looking inside of me and digging deep down within me, I realized that I had some talent. I had some advice. I had some things to offer to different people, whether it be on how to build your business or how to have a better physical body or how to have a better relationship or spirituality, any area of life. And it all comes from the same place. So I just kind of got called to life coaching. It was like I first started helping a few friends, and then people started paying me money for it. And then I was like, wait a minute, am I sitting on another business opportunity here? So I'm a businessman. I'm always looking for ways to make money and ways to make more money and by leveraging less of my time. Because I think the one thing that we have in this world, which is limited, is time, not money. Most people think that money is the limited thing, but that's not true. There's an unlimited amount of money. You just may not have the skill to be able to attract that into your life just yet. But money is unlimited. Time is the thing that's limited. So I decided to take on life coaching to be able to help people turn decades into days, rather. And how do we do that is by learning from other people's experiences. And because coaching played such an integral role in helping my personal development and helping me grow, I thought it would only be the right thing to do to help others grow as well via coaching.
Did you actually go to like a coaching program to learn how to do coaching?
So I did. Do you know what neuro linguistic programming is? NLP. So I
Mm-hmm.
did some. I did
Yeah,
some
I've heard
training.
of it.
Excellent. So I did some trainings with NLP, neuro linguistic programming. I did them with Dr. Matt James, if you're familiar with his work. So I was actually called. I was living in Florida back then, and saw an ad. I saw a Facebook ad, and I was called to it. And I got on a flight, and I went all the way to San Diego, across the country, to do this 4-day NLP training. And I did this NLP training, and it blew my mind what I learned there. And then I said, I got to take this a step further. And when I took it the step further, I first did the practitioner level, which is the 4 days. I got my NLP practitioner certification. Then I went on to do the master practitioner level. And I did the master practitioner level, and I learned so much more about neurolinguistic programming. I also got certified in a process called mental and emotional release, which allows rapid release of baggage and things that might come up, stuff that we've been holding on to in our past. And I also became a master practitioner of hypnosis as well, hypnotherapy specifically. So these tools through these certifications is what I use in my coaching with my clients. Now, of course, I've also got business experience. I currently have 8 different businesses. I've opened multiple businesses. I've seen multiple businesses grow, and I've also seen a couple of businesses fail. So I've had those learning lessons to be able to push me even forward. And using everything that I learned through NLP, through hypnosis, through MER, and bringing that in with my business knowledge, I think that's what really helped me to grow even further.
And MER stands for what?
Mental and emotional release. It's the process that Dr. Matt James had
Oh, okay.
basically. Yes.
Yeah, because I've heard other people talk about MER, and I was trying to remember what it was about.
It's a very powerful process. You see, MER goes deeper into the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, because most of us now, perhaps you've heard of this, perhaps you haven't, but we've all got alpha and beta brain waves. The alpha is the sleep state or the hypnotic state, and the beta is the awakened state, where you have what I call the critical factor. The critical factor is what allows you to make a decision between what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's false, things like that. So if you think at the alpha brainwave, and a great example of this is, let me ask you this, Jay. Have you ever seen flying people or upside down buildings in a dream of yours? Have you ever had that experience?
I've seen flying people, yeah.
Excellent. When you're in the dream, you don't question it, do you? It's only when you wake up and you're like, hey, wait a minute, people don't fly. That must have been a dream. What happened in that moment? Well, you were in alpha brainwave. When you're in alpha, the sleep state or the hypnotic state, you don't question anything. You simply accept it to be reality. It's only when you're in beta brainwave that you start questioning things. Now, here's the kicker. From the age of 0 to 7, our brains do not have the capability to have beta brainwaves. We're all alpha. We're basically sleepwalking for 7 years. So anything that anybody says to us, be it our parents, our teachers, our peers, society in general. We don't question it whatsoever. We simply accept it to be our reality. So somebody says, "You're not good enough. You'll never do well in life. You'll never have this. You won't be loved." And we make that a belief. And then we lead the rest of our life with that belief. What I like to call this is we have something called a presenting problem and we have a greater problem. The presenting problem could be something like, I don't have any love in my life. I don't have any money. I'm not able to figure this business out. I'm not able to get a good physical body for myself. Whatever those things are, these are the presenting problems. But really, there's a deeper, greater problem behind all of this. The process of mental and emotional release, MER, allows us to go deeper inside the unconscious mind and find that greater problem and release it. And I'll give you what the greater problem is for most people. There's two fears that every single one of us have as humans at our deepest, at our core level, which are the two fears that stop all of us from going to the next level in our life, whatever that next level looks like for each of us. And the first one is the fear that I'm not enough. I'm not enough of a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, an employee, a boss, whatever it is, but I am not enough. That's fear number one. And because of the fear of I am not enough, it triggers the second fear, which is that I won't be loved. And at the end of the day, at our core as humans, that's what we crave. We crave love. So if you think that you're not enough and you think that you won't be loved, it doesn't matter what you do in your life. You're going to always end up back at the same state, which is why you see people even like lottery winners. Why is it that lottery winners go broke in the first 5 years, end up filing for bankruptcy? What is it, like 90% of something lottery winners go broke? How? When you're given more money than you know what to do with. It's because you have a belief system. And the belief system is like the GPS. No matter what happens, you'll always make it back home, back to what your belief system's home is. If your belief system is that I am not wealthy, or wealthy people are evil, or having money is bad, then no matter how much money you have, you're going to get rid of all of it because your belief system is this. So what I do with people through MER, with my clients, is I help them break through what that belief system was. Why was that belief formed? What is the purpose of having that belief? What are the positive lessons that we need to learn from that belief that you used to have? Which, if you can let go of that belief and preserve the positive learnings so that if you need them in the future, they'll be there, how can it help you? And that's what MER kind of does and dives deep into.
Well, because I've heard that in the alpha state, that's where you can do the most transformation. Because have you ever heard of like the Silva meditation method? They talk about
Yes.
alpha as the state where you can make most of the transformation.
Absolutely, because in alpha, you're not questioning anything. That's when you just accept everything to be reality. It's when you tell your 5-year-old son that the floor is lava, why did they take it so seriously? Versus when you tell your 13-year-old son that the floor is lava, he's going to be like, I want to walk on lava. Because they've got the critical factor. They're in beta brainwave. They start to think and start to use their mind and say, I want to do this despite it. I want to make this. Why? That's why we're the most rebellious in our teenage years. Because we've just developed that beta brainwave and we want to try and defy the odds, to set a new standard, to see what else we can do. Versus when we're in alpha, we just accept everything to be reality. So if I take you to an alpha state, and that's kind of what we do with hypnotherapy, right? If I'm able to take you to an alpha state and then install a new set of beliefs, this now becomes your new emotional home, your new belief system, which now your GPS has been recalibrated and you're going back to that emotional home, to that belief system. And as long as you continue to do that, you'll have a more empowering life. So you're absolutely right. Transformation occurs in the alpha, not in the beta. In the beta, we've got thinking abilities and our mind, listen to this, our primary function, the unconscious mind, is to preserve and protect the body, the physical body, the mental body, and the emotional body. And it does that basis your belief system. If your belief system, or if one's belief system is, for example, with relation to money, if it's that money is evil, consciously you're going to do everything to stay the hell away from it. But if you had a belief system that was different, if we changed the belief system that money is the way that I'm going to be able to be successful in life, money is the tool that's going to help me make the greatest impact in this world, automatically, in one instance, the acts that you take change. I do this with my clients during coaching as well. I tell every single one of them, I say, every single one of you has got $10 million businesses in your mind right now. The only thing is you're not focusing on them. You see, through our visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory, to our VACOG, we receive 2 million bits of information every second. Like even right now, if I was to bring your attention to it, you could probably feel the wind in the room, the light coming from behind you. You might feel all kinds of things, the heart in your soul that's pumping, the blood going through your veins. And you're feeling that now only as I bring your attention to it. It wasn't that those things didn't exist a couple of seconds ago. I just brought your attention to it. So we process 2 million bits of information every single second. Our conscious mind can only process 126 on a good day. So, really, the quality of our life depends on what we focus on. You focus on the negative, you're going to have more negative in your life. You begin to focus on the positive, and you'll begin to notice how your life suddenly just transforms itself. So, I think when we talk about transformation, it's very important to also look at some of these factors. What are you choosing to focus on? How are you showing up on a daily basis? And how is that belief of yours impacting your life today? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a lot similar to like what Tony Robbins talks about.
Most
The
definitely.
the importance of limiting beliefs and fear and stuff like that.
So everything Tony Robbins does is rooted in NLP. So I find it very amusing that you say that, because it's completely true. Because yes, everything Tony Robbins does is NLP. In fact, if you've ever noticed Tony on stage, and I've been to a bunch of Tony conferences, if you ever noticed Tony on stage, when he gets close to somebody and when he gets them to a positive state, he uses an NLP technique called anchoring. And the way Tony does that is he actually touches the bottom of someone's elbow and he anchors them to that beautiful state that Tony Robbins talks about, right? He brings you to that beautiful state after you're in your negative state, and then he anchors it in. And what that does for him is if he ever meets that person in the future, and if you ever notice on video, he'll first go and touch the elbow of that person, immediately triggering that previous emotional state that they had. It's how we use our body. And if you know Tony Robbins, you know this. We talk about state all the time. It's not about the story you're telling yourself. It's not about the strategy. It's about the state. Because in a beautiful state, in an empowered state, we can make anything happen.
Well, so could you do like anchoring if you were in a highly meditative state just by yourself? You know, like if you're feeling good and you're feeling confident because you're meditating, could you like touch your hand or something or your elbow and then like later during the day do the same thing and kind of send your mind back there?
Yes, absolutely. A very powerful exercise that I like to do with some of my clients is I'll have them just imagine a ring on the floor in front of you, and I'll have them look down, and I'll look down at that ring, and the ring is in front of them. They're not stepping into it. It's just a ring, all right? They're not stepping into it yet. I have them look at that ring, and I say, now imagine an infinite source of love, healing energy coming from higher source, and just filling that ring up. And anything that steps into this ring will be completely filled with power, with joy, with satisfaction. And the best versions of you will come out as soon as you step into that ring. And then I'll have them step into that ring. And then we'll anchor it even further. That's all I'm doing is anchoring. That's it. And then I anchor that beautiful state, and I use some music and some tunes to be able to build that up as well. Play some motivational music, build up those tunes, and then I get them to step out of that circle. And as soon as they step out of that circle, you can notice on the person's body how their emotional state changes. Then I'll have them pick up that circle, shrink it down, shrink it down, shrink it down, shrink it down, and put it as a ring on your finger. That's your ring of power. It's something as a tool that you can have to access whenever you need to get into a beautiful state. And I do that for myself as well. I've got all kinds of anchors. I've got finger anchors, I've got ring anchors, I've got ear anchors, I've got all kinds of different things that I constantly anchor in. So when I'm in a beautiful state, I'm stacking on those anchors so that when I need them, when I feel in a less empowered state, I can immediately trigger off that anchor and get the result that I want. So yes, absolutely you can get anchored in a hypnotic state, in an alpha state. That's the best way to do anchoring. But that doesn't mean you can't anchor in a beta state as well. They're both possible.
Have you ever wanted to learn to meditate? Check out my book, Meditation for Everyone: How to Quickly Have a More Peaceful, Mindful, and Fulfilled Life, and support this channel. With Meditation for Everyone, you will learn to quickly and easily meditate, relieve stress and anxiety, alleviate depression, and have more joy, peace, and relaxation. What you will learn: mindfulness, the art of stillness, step by step on how to meditate, strategies for overcoming challenges to meditation, and much more. D. Mason said this is a nice meditation book, even for those already meditating. I agree with the statements that it will help to have a more peaceful, mindful, and fulfilled life. 4.6-star rating, available on Amazon. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because like I've noticed sometimes when I meditate, I use music, and sometimes like if I'm not meditating anymore, I'm just going about my day. If I hear the little piece of music in my mind that I was meditating to, I kind of get a pickup, and you kind of
Yep.
feel good again, you know.
That's auditory
Yeah.
anchors, my friend. There's so many different, there's auditory anchors, there's kinesthetic anchors, there's visual anchors. And a good way to remember, like a visual anchor, for example, is for somebody who feels pissed off every time they see a stoplight while driving. The minute they see a stoplight, suddenly you can see their face just boiling with anger. Like, what? It's just a stoplight, bro. Chill out. But we're anchored to that because we've
Hmm.
anchored our negative emotion to that stoplight. So the minute the stoplight comes up, gets triggered, negative emotion shows up. And we're constantly anchoring ourselves, whether we know it or not. Some of us are anchored to other people. You know, when you see certain people, like for example, when I coach my clients, I'm coaching them to anchor positive emotions to having chatting with me. So at the end of my sessions, all of my clients feel like they're on cloud nine. Why? Because we've anchored that in. So we constantly keep doing the coaching to constantly keep getting that high, to constantly keep improving how our mindset thinks and how we keep going about life and how we behave in our daily lives. And we can all do this really, really easily. Anchoring is not a hard concept. We do it unintentionally all the time. Like our phone. How many times have you been out in public and you hear an iPhone ring and you go to feel for your pocket knowing that it's not your phone? That's anchoring as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, and anchoring can go both ways because we're trying to obviously anchor in a more positive way, but unfortunately, we can anchor things that go in a negative way, like you hear someone's voice that kind of gives you stress, or you have something go off, and you could go in a negative state too.
Exactly. And just as easily as you can anchor a negative thing, you can anchor a positive thing. And since you know Tony Robbins, I'll give you a good Tony Robbins quote, which is something I like to live my life by. What's wrong is always available. So is what's right.
Hmm. So, do you do a lot of meditation or anything too in your
Yes,
own personal life?
I have a gratitude practice that I do every single morning where I celebrate the gratefulness that I have in my life, what I'm grateful for, the sun, the earth, this planet that we live in, all of my employees, my clients, my parents, my family, my friends, everybody that I love and care for in this world. And I celebrate that because gratitude is the secret to living a better quality of life. Because gratitude and fear cannot coexist. As somebody who runs 8 different companies, I've got 400 plus employees across my buffet of companies that I have. And there's always going to be reasons to stress if I choose to focus on that. There's always going to be different fears that come up. There's always going to be this baggage that keeps coming up if I choose to focus on it. Instead, what I choose to do is focus on the positive, and that happens through gratitude. If I start my day with gratitude every day through my gratitude meditation and end my day with forgiveness every day with my forgiveness meditation, a process called Ho'oponopono, maybe you're familiar with it, it's an ancient Hawaiian process, then I'm able to kind of sandwich in my day between that. Between gratitude and forgiveness, you have a beautiful day every day.
It seems like money is kind of the hardest one because it's like because you can sort of become more grateful and focused and be emotionally positive. You can try to work on your relationships and work on your health and things like that. Those seem like more easily in our grasp, but sometimes the financial is more of a struggle. Like, how do I attract this money? Because it seems like that's more out of our control a lot of times.
It's funny you say that. Oh my God, this is hilarious that you say that. I've seen different people where somebody might say, money's the hard thing. And some other people say, money's the easiest thing in the world. I was working with, oh, here's a great example. Do you remember Robin Williams?
Hmm.
What happened to Robin
Yeah.
Williams? He wanted to impact the world. He wanted to make the world laugh, add laughter, add joy. He had all the money in the world that anybody would want. He was able to impact thousands, tens of thousands, millions of lives with his humor, with his honor, with his integrity. Then what happened? He killed himself because success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Tony Robbins again. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure because we're constantly going after one thing like money, 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 but money is not the only thing that will make you happy. There are people in this world that I know, some people in this world that are terribly rich. Oh my God, they are so rich. They're like, I wish I wasn't this rich. I was speaking to one of my clients the other day, and she was telling me, she said she's currently 52 years old or 53 years old, and she's currently going through some situations of finding a romantic partner. And she's very, very successful businesswoman, millions and millions of dollars. I think her net worth is close to $400 million. I won't give you too many details about it just to respect her privacy. But I have her consent to share this story, which is she got to a point where money was no longer the issue. In fact, money was the issue. Too much of it was the issue. She said, I've got so much money, I'm not able to find the love of my life. So I asked her, I said, what would you give up to find the love of your life today? And she said, everything. It didn't even take her half a second to answer. She was like, everything. We all crave what we don't have the most. It's just like when you ask a kid or when you ask somebody in their 30s or 40s, whose love did you crave the most while growing up, your mother's or the father's? They'll always say the person's love that they got the least of. Because if you got a lot of love from your mother, you're not going to be craving her love, you're going to be craving your father's love, and vice versa. If you got a lot of love from your father, you're not going to be craving your father's love, you're going to be craving your mother's love. The same way, if you've got a lot of money, then money's not going to be the issue for you. It's going to be other things. It's only when you don't have the money that money becomes the issue. I think we're asking the wrong questions, because to get better answers, we've got to ask better questions. And the way we do that is not by saying, how do I attract more money into my life? Because money can come and money can go. Let's ask ourselves a better question. What's the purpose behind attracting that money? Is there another way to achieve that purpose without the money? If the purpose is, I want to do more for my family, I want to be able to travel the world more, are there other ways that you can do more for your family, travel the world more without having that money? And the answer is, of course. There are many ways. There was a time not so long ago for me, about 2.5 years ago, when I was down on my luck. None of my businesses were performing the way I wanted to. I made $150 that month. The whole month, I made $150. I was flat, stony broke, but I was traveling the world. I was in Ecuador, I was in Peru, I was in Brazil. How did I do it? Well, I volunteered at different places. I still wanted to travel. That was still my why. I still wanted to do these things. I wasn't going to let money stop me and rob me of the experience of life. I said, okay, maybe there's a little bit of a modification here. Maybe I don't go out for the $200 dinner. Maybe I go and have the street side $2 dinner. That's a possibility too. So there's always different ways. So the only way we get better answers is by asking better questions. And I don't think how do I attract more money into my life is the better question. I think that's a very disempowering question, because now you've limited the possibilities of what the quality of your life is going to be. And you've made it into just money, 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 money. And while I agree that we live in a capitalistic world and money is important, it's not the only thing. I know people in this world who are living with $15,000 a year and are the happiest people in the world. I know people that make $15 million a year and are freaking horrible. They do not have happiness. They're so sad and miserable all the time. So it's not money that changes us. There's something deeper. I'm interested in going after what's that deeper. What's the belief that we're holding on to that we think money is going to solve the problem? Money is only going to create more of what you already have. If you're a stressed person, an anxious person, a pissed off person, a guilty person, a shameful person, you're just going to have more of that if you have more money. At the same time, if you're somebody that leads with love, leads with gratitude, leads with abundance, you're going to have more of that with more money. It's as simple as that, brother.
You think some people are maybe held back on money because they have a fear that if I get money, I'll change in a negative way?
Well, holding on to that fear is definitely going to stop you from achieving more money. Because remember, the primary function, number one function of our unconscious mind is to preserve and protect the body, physical, emotional, and mental body. And it does that basis our belief system. If your belief system is that I'm going to be a bad person if I have money, of course you're going to stay away from it. I could come in your face and throw $1 million at you and you'll look the other way. Because your belief system is that money is bad. Money is going to make me into a bad person. So consciously, you're going to take actions to stay away from it. So, of course, if somebody holds on to that belief, they're going to be broke for the rest of their life. That's just the reality of the situation.
So, have you done any hypnosis on yourself and worked on these? Can you do NLP on yourself?
So, great question that you ask. And I want to kind of clarify a few things. Do NLP is not a thing. NLP is not a process that you do to someone. It's a do with process. And NLP is language. It's how you speak. It's a way of living. It's understanding the words that we use. And even all through this conversation, I've been using NLP. It's something that I use in my daily language. It's how I show up as a person, as an individual, as a human being. Because it's the language that we use that creates who we are. There are certain words that trigger certain emotions. Like even through this conversation, as I've been speaking to you, perhaps you felt a little bit inspired. It's very intentional. It's because of the way I speak. It's where I put my pauses in my sentences, how I punctuate my sentences, the exact words that I use to describe the acts that are going on in my life. It's all these different things. And that has a certain undertone to it. I understand how to use the English language. Most people don't understand how to use the English language. And I can give you a really simple example of what you're calling do NLP. And a great example of that is the word but. I've seen so many people misuse that word because when you say, Jay, I love your podcast and I love everything you're doing, but I think you could have a better title for it, for example. You didn't hear anything I said before the word but. You deleted all of that. That's what the word but does. It deletes everything you said before that word. Instead, if I said, Jay, I love your podcast and I love
Mm-hmm.
everything that you're doing, and I think it could have a better title, now you're listening to everything that I'm saying. You're taking the compliment and you're taking the feedback, right? You're not just taking the feedback because when you use the
Mm-hmm.
word but, you energetically put a stop to anything you said before that. And this is how most people talk. Most people use the but in conversation all the time. I think in this entire conversation, I probably used but once, and that was to negate a negative thing that I said. Because once you understand this, you can also use it to negate negative things. Most of us use it to negate positive things. And we use but as the integer between a positive and a negative, whereas it should be used as an integer between the negative and the positive, if that makes sense.
Please like, subscribe to this channel, and share everywhere. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So, what do you do exactly in your work? Because you have a lot coaching. Do you do mostly one-on-one internet? What exactly do you do in terms of your
Great
coaching?
question. Yeah, great question, Jay. I'd love to answer that. With my coaching specifically, what I'm doing is I'm helping my clients release negative emotions and limiting beliefs. My coaching is about 10 hours long. It's a very extensive session and we go really, really deep. I'm not interested in surface level nonsense. I believe that the process that I have down is one that can help empower people at a deeper level. And here's what that actually means. That means that people come to me with all kinds of problems. I'm not able to build this business. I'm not able to have a good relationship. My wife hates me. My kids don't like me. All these presenting problems. What I do is I go deep in the unconscious mind. Using hypnosis, using NLP, using MER, we go deep in the unconscious mind and find the triggers behind that. Where was the original belief formed? Why was it formed? What's the purpose of this belief? Can we hold on to the positive learnings from that belief and let go of the negative emotions around it? And that's exactly what we do. My claim in my sessions, and I've got a 100% success rate so far, my claim, and I've done 40 plus clients over the last 3 years, is that you will get the result that you're looking for or your money back. That's it. It's 100% result, or like, I don't want you to get close to your result and, oh, I got in the area of where I wanted to be. No, I'm not interested in that. You're going to get exactly what you want, or you're going to get your money back. And I haven't had to refund a single client out of 40 plus clients. I've got that high of a success rate because I'm that congruent that this works, because I know that this stuff works because it worked on me. It's worked on every single client that I've worked with because they have that rapport with me, because we've got 10 hours to go deep in the unconscious mind and rewire the brain. Because when you reprogram the brain at a deeper level, you just fail to have certain beliefs. So somebody might come to me with a presenting problem of, I don't have enough money to provide for my family, for example. That's a common one. And then we go through the breakthrough session at the end of them. Now, nothing has changed in these 10 hours, mind you. They have not won the lottery. They have not got a new job. Nothing has changed about their financial situation. But I'll ask them the same question. I'll say, how do you feel about providing for your family? And the answer will be drastically different. They would have gone from initially when they first said, I don't know how I'm going to provide for my family, I feel like such a failure, to, man, I got this stuff. My family, oh, that's easy to do it. How? How is it that the same person in 10 hours is giving me a whole different answer to the same question? And it's because of the belief systems. It's like I mentioned earlier about the presenting problem and the greater problem. When you get rid of the greater problem, what happens is we go into hypnosis and we reevaluate all the events in our life from that time where you formed that original belief to now. And we notice how every single belief along the way has continuously reevaluated itself in light of your new choices. And then the experience of life itself just changes. It becomes a different life. Because the life that we have depends on the quality of our emotions, the life that the life that we focus on. The life you experience is the life you focus on. It's what do we choose to focus on. It's not like none of those things exist. I'm not deleting them from your mind. They're still there somewhere in the unconscious. I'm just changing your 126 bits. I'm just changing what you're going to focus on out of those 2 million bits. And because the primary function of our mind is to preserve and protect us, it thinks that it does that because It puts the negative stuff away and it shoves it deep down inside. But unless you deal with it and overcome it, it's always going to be a part of you, in you as you. So you've got to change that. And when you can release that negative emotion and turn it around into a new positive emotion, into a new empowering belief, that's when your life changes completely.
So, can you work with people both virtually and in person?
I actually work with people exclusively virtually. I'm currently in my studio here in Virginia, but I travel the world a lot. I just got back from Mexico yesterday, and on Wednesday, I'm heading out on another international trip. So I don't spend a lot of time at home, and I definitely don't meet any of my clients in person. All of my clients are online because I travel a lot. And none of my clients have ever felt the need to be in person because I'm able to offer the same service over Zoom. I've perfected how to do that virtually. Check the internet connection, make sure technology is good, and yeah, you're good to go. You can do it virtually as well.
So, like, how can people reach out to you if they'd like to maybe work with you?
Well, I think, and I don't work with everybody that requests to work with me, and that's how I have a 100% success rate. Because when I do an onboarding call, I can see if the person is so stuck in their baggage or if they're willing to let go of it. Because the person that's so stuck in their story will own it no matter what. You say, "What if you could change this?" And go, "I can't change it." But what if you could? I can't. Okay, you're not even willing to try. You're not even willing to play with me. How are you going to do anything? Right? We've got to get somebody to go from "I can't change anything" to "I can change it." Because to find the treasure in life, right? And I'll answer your question on how people can reach me in just a second. But to be able to find your treasure in life, I truly believe that there's 3 beliefs that are critical for you to know to find that treasure in your life. Whatever the treasure is, whether you're looking for $1 million, whether you're looking for a life partner, whether you're looking for your ideal physical body, whatever it might be, to find that treasure, you've got to believe these 3 things. And to anybody who's listening, this is something you'd want to write down. Belief number 1, you got to believe it's out there. You got to believe that the treasure is out there. So if I'm speaking to someone on an onboarding call and they don't even believe that the treasure is out there, I've tried everything. So many people say that. Okay, really? Name 1,000 things. Okay, no, I haven't tried it. Name 100 things. Okay, no, I haven't. Okay, so really what you're telling me is you've been doing these 3 things over and over again in different ways and trying to get a different, that's the level of this definition of insanity. So number 1 belief is you got to believe that it's out there. Number 2 belief is you got to believe that you will find it. In fact, change that to a I must find it. First belief, it's out there. Second belief, I must find it. And then that brings in the third, which is the most important one, which is that it's worth it. It's worth it to go after the goal and find it. Because there's going to be things that come in your way when you're going after your dreams. That's just the reality of the world that we live in. We face challenges on a daily basis. We've got to be able to overcome this. And the way we do that is by holding on to these 3 beliefs. It's out there. I must find it. And that it's going to be worth it to find it. So to anybody that's interested in working further with me or even learning more about me, there's something that I do which is called the Habits of Successful People Training. It's a 90-minute free training on the habits of successful people. And we talk about pattern recognition, we talk about language, we talk about all these different tools that you can use to transform your own life. It's 100% free. I do it once a month. And you can find it by going to kabirwolf.com/free. And it's 100% free training. In fact, the next one is this Saturday at 12 p.m. East Coast time. You've got some time, come join. And from there, what I offer on that call is a 1-hour free coaching session with me. My time is very valuable, and I charge $1,000 an hour for my time. I coach very high-level entrepreneurs and high-level people, but I'm willing to give an hour of free coaching to anybody that's willing to come to my Habits of Successful free training, Habits of Successful People. Because that means you've already shown me that you've got a little bit in you to take the steps that you need to take to get to that next level of life. So after we've gone through the 90-minute free training, and they come to a 1-hour free complimentary call to which there's homework. It's not 100% free training. You don't have to pay me anything, but you do need to purchase a book. It's not even my book that you need to purchase. You can purchase my book if you want. This is my book right here, 90 Days to Financial Freedom. And you can purchase this book if you want, but that's not the book I'll ask you to purchase. Instead, this is the book I ask you to purchase, which is the book that my coach wrote. It's called Mental and Emotional Release by Dr. Matt James. And I'll ask you to read the first 4 chapters of that book, and then I'll ask you to answer an extensive questionnaire. This homework will take you about an hour and a half to read the book and to answer the questionnaire. And only once that's done will I allow the person to come on a complimentary coaching call. So what I do at that point is I filtered out the people that are serious and the people that are the naysayers, because I'm not interested in working with someone who doesn't believe in the process. Come to the training first, learn for the 90 minutes. From there, you come and learn about mental and emotional release. We do an hour complimentary session. And then from there, I decide whether or not it's a good fit to work with this person. And I don't work with everybody. I only work with 6 clients on a yearly basis, on an ongoing basis. And I do some a la carte breakthrough sessions here and there as well. And of course, if somebody wants to follow me on social media, it's Coach Kabir Wolf. And I post on there like 5 times a day right now. Tons of free content, things for people to catch on to. And I promise you, if you didn't even come to any of my trainings, but just followed me on social media and listened to everything that I truly say on there and implemented into your life, life would be completely different. Because most of us go into this spree of, I'm going to read so many books, I'm going to follow all these people, but then we don't do anything with that advice. I would rather you read one book, listen to 2 coaches, 3 coaches, something like that, a limited number, and you put into action everything you learn. Most people don't take action. And there's 4 requisites for change. If you want to have any change in your life, there's 4 requisites to make any change happen. And you've probably noticed this in your own life with anything that's changed. First requisite, release negative emotions and limiting beliefs about it. If you believe you're not going to be able to do it, then you're not going to be able to do it. Henry Ford, right? Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. That's number 1, releasing negative emotions and limiting beliefs. Number 2, setting a compelling future, a goal. Where are you going towards? If you don't know where you're going, if you don't know where the GPS is set to, then you're just going to go in circles. And then number 3 is to take action on what you know. Once you've set a goal, once you've set a clear path, take action on it. And finally, number 4 is to stay focused. You got to stay focused because things are going to come in the way of you getting your dreams. Unfortunately, unsuccessful people do this in the opposite order. And the syntax is important because if you've got the code, the correct numeric code to open the number lock, but if it's in the wrong order, the lock won't open. You've got to do it in the right way. Most people do this the wrong way. They first start so focused. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this happen. And then they're like, I really got to take some action on this. And then they go, let me set a New Year's resolution. And then finally they go, man, I got some limiting beliefs around this. That's the wrong syntax. You're not going to get the goal. You got to first release negative emotions and limiting beliefs. Because as long as you have that, you're not going to be able to set a compelling goal. One of my clients that I was working with, she set a goal to make $100,000 over a year. And after we released negative emotions and limiting beliefs, she created that goal to be $1 million. She was cheating herself of $900,000 just because she had her limiting beliefs. That's the power of releasing your limiting beliefs first, then setting your goal, then taking action, and then staying focused. So that's the syntax that you need to do it in.
So people can reach you online and you just go from there because you first do you read the book and
I think the best first step for anybody is follow me on social media.
I guess you
Wolf, and then come to the free training, kabirwolf.com/free. And that's a good first step for anybody who'd like to connect further.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on today. It was a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jay. It's been a pleasure being here. And hopefully your audience was able to take away a lot of value from this and use it to impact their lives, because that's the name of the game, generational impact, brother.
I spent several years of my life stressed, anxious, and depressed. I needed to find something that would make my life work. For me, that was meditation. With meditation, I found the peace of mind that I was looking for. I found the happiness. And I found a way to improve every area of my life, my emotional life, my spiritual life, my relationships. I was able to discover things about myself. I can give you the tools to meditate. I will walk you through the process and hold your hand. Whether you're a beginner to meditation who's never meditated, or whether you're someone who's tried meditation and it just never seemed to work, we can make it work. Meditation is something that everyone can do, and I can show you how. Check out my course on meditation.